Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Geek Boots, Military Nerds, where we'd like to tell everybody about the big green weenie and how it likes to continue to fuck you. Just like how she tells you she's gonna sit on your face and then farts on your face instead. I am your host, Tom Cruise Cosplay, and with me tonight is Mind Goddess, who definitely takes credit for this joke. We got Single Dad.
Spoiler alert,
What
it was
up?
my face she was sitting on.
Yes, and of course Cosplay Kennedy with that
Wait.
comment.
Are you heterosexual, homosexual?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, so for this episode, we'll be doing a little bit of jokes about Game of Thrones because, hello, we're into the pop culture a little bit.
Oh,
And then we will talk about Detective Pikachu and then start doing some hype for John Wick, which opens up this weekend. And as you all know, we record Wednesday, so much as we'd like to do it right now, we're not going to give a review until the next episode. Anyway, Detective Pikachu, right out the gate, I will say, really good, solid movie, and I'm just happy that a video game went from video game to film and actually did well. Like, wow, alright, kudos, because ever since Mario, no one has ever given any amount of credibility to a video game to film.
And even then, the Super Mario movie, like if you look back at it, it was.
No,
I will
No.
say this: Mortal Kombat came kind of close.
it did.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. It was
So-
trying to offer a lot of dialogue to a video game that is a lot of fight mode purpose, but it's fine because they had actors that fit the roles really well. I appreciated that the most, especially,
Sure.
I mean, I'm sorry, but on
This
the
is what happens when you let a specialist talk.
At least I didn't say hearer on the Skype chat. I'm hearer. Oh,
Hurrah!
I'm Saber, I guess. Whatever. Um, Mortal Kombat was good. I just really appreciate the fact that Connor McLeod of the clan McLeod, the immortal of 500 years, gets to play Raiden because that role was meant for him. The guy who reprises the role in the sequel, I fucking hated him. Just so much no. Anyway, so Detective Pikachu will, of course, do a lot of conversations with video games through the history, whether it's video games to film or just talk about video games in general. I've never played Detective Pikachu, but I watched Pokemon up until my Madra decided to destroy my world and tell me before I hit the age of 10 that I would grow out of it because that happens with life sometimes. And then the very next day, my mood and love for Pokemon vanished. I walked into school and I no longer wore anything Pokemon related. I didn't care for it. And when everybody talked about it, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
It's
I'm
like
like-
that episode. It's just like that episode of South Park.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what they did, and it's in Pokemon, and that was the name of the game that they all had, that all the kids had to have. And then once the parents thought it was cool, kids didn't like it anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
And when everyone's special, no one's special.
Yep.
oh man. So yeah, Detective Pikachu. I give it a solid review. 9 out of 10. No, 8 out of 10. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's when you're so used to Ryan Reynolds swearing, and then he's doing a kids movie. It's like I was like, okay, I appreciate the humor, but I didn't laugh. So yeah, it's twisty. It's very twisty, and I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ, why?
There were some quotes, especially like in the trailer, where I was like, "Oh, this sarcasm, this sarcasm." Like the one
Okay.
where he was
They
like,
were
"Fine,
fake.
I'll walk." I want to walk like.
Oh
I wanted to get my like 8,000 steps an hour today. Like
Yes.
that was great. So like, I think one thing that I've noticed, especially like with Ryan Reynolds and like people like that, where it's like you get to this iconic role, it's hard to get out of that. Like saying a comedian doing a serious role, and you're just like, girl, what? So I think that's kind of the thing that Ryan Reynolds is dealing with right now. Is that it's like he's become iconic for like
A certain
fucking
thing.
cussing. Yeah.
Like he's become iconic that he had to make a fourth wall breaking joke about it in The Hitman's Bodyguard. When he's sitting
Yes.
there with the stand of refreshments, I don't know what it was, but anyway, he goes, "This man has single-handedly ruined the word motherfucker," and I'm looking at him like,
Yes.
dude, so have you. Motherfucker. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was really good. I really appreciate the CGI. I think the most out of that film. There are a couple of scenes. I won't get into it, but there are a couple of scenes where I'm just like, it was like the CGI was clearly not blended well with the rest of everything going on, but other things were really good. So yeah, no, solid good movie. I enjoyed it, especially Ryan as Pikachu. That was amazing.
I
Anyway,
think that immortalized the that one meme of like the Deadpool Pikachu.
yes, it did. I feel like a part of the reason why Ryan wanted this role so much was because A, he saw that meme, he saw that that thing that they had done, and B, he really wanted to do a popular kids movie so that his kids could finally see one of his movies.
Yeah, because how old is I have no idea how old his kids are.
He had his first kid, I want to say a year before the first Deadpool movie. So,
Oh, okay.
I want to say that. I'm not certain, but even he has put it on Twitter when people were going on and on about how superheroes aren't meant to be rated R or whatever, and he's like, no, you don't understand. I don't want you to take your kids to my movie.
Yeah.
Like, be an intelligent adult.
Be a
this
parent.
Is super rated R. Do not bring your
Super
kids.
rated R.
Yeah,
Not
like
just a
there's
little
some
rated
kids,
R,
or
super
there are some
rated
kids.
R.
There are some heroes that like you can do with kids. Deadpool specifically not.
No.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, I want to go to a superhero movie," it's like, "No, this one's not geared for kids." And
Yeah.
then like people throw a fit, and it's like, "No, don't fuck, no."
Yeah.
Comic books are arguably rated PG-13, but it's still something I would never even.
There's
let
still a
13.
spectrum.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, I mean, they have, I mean, after the comic books code and everything like that, which I mean, really isn't adhered to anymore, you still have ratings on the books.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some books that are teen and teen 14, and some of them it's not for young adults. I mean, it's
The
for adults
Punisher.
only, and
The
yeah,
Punisher straight up gets an NC-17. I'm
yeah,
not even kidding, because there's such
Yeah.
gratuitous violence and swearing and nudity. So, but yeah. Anyway, translating to video games, yeah, I give it really good credibility because there is such a history. Now, I didn't mind Assassin's Creed, but if you haven't watched Assassin's Creed, I don't really care to spoil this for you because maybe you'll never even take the chance to watch it. But the way they translated the Animus, I fucking hated that part. Have you not seen it?
I'm having a brain fart. I'm sorry.
Assassin's Creed. So the Animus.
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Assassin's
okay.
Creed,
Okay.
You're on a table.
the one with Magneto.
A visor comes over your face, and then they suck you into
Yes.
the memories of your ancestor. Well, in this one,
They suck you up.
into your fuck you. A giant claw comes down, wraps itself around your waist, and then it transports you into your ancestors' memories, and you just run around in an open room pretending to be your ancestor and jumping around stuff. And I'm just like, what? But the storyline stayed true to the video game, unlike literally every other video game movie. And I hope to God Sonic does well, because otherwise they're just proving the point. The silence is all that is necessary as an answer. You don't have audio. You still don't have audio.
Who does it? Oh no.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yay!
Okay,
All
sorry.
right,
I was
we're
doing
back.
something real quick. So, so when the trailer for Sonic came out, and the amount of backlash,
Oh.
like
What
I
the
will,
hell?
I will give the studio credit for them being like, okay, we get what you're doing. We're gonna fix everything. That's gonna be an expensive fucking fix.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
So that was my favorite part and experience of the Detective Pikachu movie was the trailers. That trailer came on just before the movie, and the entire audience in the theater room went, "No, God, why no? Don't put this on before the movie."
Well, okay, think about it. Okay, think about it from a marketing standpoint. If they put on that horrendous fucking trailer right before their movie, they're just saying, you know what? Fuck you. We did this so much better than you. We win. So try
not only
and
that-
follow us.
Not only that, but as sad as it sounds, but like bad publicity is still publicity.
Right.
Like they're getting a shit ton of airtime by everybody like talking about it and like replaying the trailer, replaying the trailer, replaying the trailer. Now, granted, but like them
Is it
kind of
sad
putting
that I
in
still haven't watched the trailer?
I haven't either. I saw plenty of
I
memes.
did. I legitimately watched the trailer. So let me tell you
I
right
guess I'll
now.
watch it this weekend when I take my kids to.
Did you ever see the picture of the like someone did like like some taxidermist like stuffed a fox, but it looked like it was on meth for like 2 years.
Yep.
Imagine Sonic as that. Like that was kind
Yeah,
of like
Painted
the
blue.
So if
Painted
you've ever,
blue.
yeah. So take Sonic, his original look. Like, okay, who here's seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Me. It's my
Yeah,
favorite
okay.
movie like ever.
Remember how Sonic was in those little
Yeah.
snippets? That's amazing. That's really good work right there. Now, picture, if you will, a child put into a skin tight furry suit with hair. That's what Sonic is in this movie. That's the original Sonic that they decided to put on for this fucking movie. His eyes
I saw
like
the pictures.
yeah. No,
Dude,
it's
his
just
teeth
horrible.
look like gummy bears screaming. Like
His mouth is just, I was just like, oh my god. But see, what I think is laughable about Sonic, this movie, is it's not even the CGI on Sonic that is the problem. There are so many things wrong just by the trailer alone that I have to say is wrong with this entire movie. Second of all, Jim Carrey. I don't know where the argument is that Jim Carrey is gonna hold this movie up because Jim Carrey is acting like Jim Carrey back in the 90s.
oh my gosh, there was one point where I was totally waiting for him to break out into the Ace Ventura explanation thing.
I was waiting for
Like
it to turn
I
into
was
the fucking
ready for
Grinch.
it. Like I geared up. I was like, oh my god,
Like-
Ace Ventura went bald, girl.
Like seriously, they handed him the script and they said, "Hey, remember how you acted in Ace Ventura and in the Grinch?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We want you to do that exact same thing for our movie."
You mean like how he acted in every single movie
yeah.
that he's ever been in?
Yeah.
Act like
Well,
yourself.
yes and no, because
Well, no, because the Truman Show, he
yeah,
was like
for the
60
Truman
years.
Show for that movie. Wow, God, there was
Good luck coming up with
Eternal
one.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
yes,
Literally
that-
talking about being forgetting stuff.
Of course, the movie Man on the Moon. He acted like an entirely
yeah.
different person.
Well, okay,
I don't
now
think I
that
ever
was
saw that.
that
But-
was Andy Kaufman, and I mean, like he legit like got so into that role.
Oh,
I mean,
he turned
he
it-
went to it.
awesome.
He went insane.
And then that Penguin movie he did, he was very mellow in that movie. But yeah, no, there's been
Penguin
movies
movie.
where he's not like Jim Carrey as Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey as the Grinch, where he's being super goofy and super using facial expressions, using body language. He's been chill. He's done.
I don't know. I still see him
but-
even in those other movies. I still
Yeah,
see him.
but see, that's the problem with this movie is they're making the villain Jim Carrey, and I'm like,
See, I don't mind the Jim Carrey part. Like the part that I mind is that like, well, one, Sonic looks weird, and two, considering the cast, it's gonna be a comedy.
It's Hop
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
played
like
the
Hop.
games in a very long time, but the last time I checked, Sonic does not pull a ring out of his ass, throw it forward, and create a portal. Which is in the goddamn trailer.
Well, you know.
So
they had to take something from Endgame.
Creative
this
liberties.
worked in Doctor Strange, Infinity War, and Endgame. So let's go ahead and do this.
Portal.
Yeah.
How about
No, so
Portal? It works for Portal.
It does work for Portal, but we're not playing Portal right now, are we? We're playing Sonic. Sonic doesn't do that.
But he's got rings. Portal has rings.
I got rings, girl.
All I can say is
I'm sorry, I'm trying.
we did it. We made Detective Pikachu, and then Sonic comes out of nowhere, and we're all like, well, fuck it. Back to our original thought that video games cannot be turned into movies.
Yeah. There was talk about
Like movies being turned into video games.
no, there's a video game that they were like, was it Outlast? No. There was a video game that they were like, it's always been in the talks, like kind of like Indiana Jonesy kind of thing, and like it'd be really cool, but it's just like it's always been in development. We're getting people together, and I'm like,
Yeah, you mean like Final Fantasy VII? Or Kingdom Hearts 3, how it took 11 years to get my game.
Yeah, that who.
I kept cracking jokes that I'm going to turn into an old man and I'm going to be fine because I'm going to be in a retirement home, and that's how I'll play Kingdom Hearts 3. Because that's how fucking long it's going to take. Oh god.
Kingdom Hearts 2 came out on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, no, hold on.
That's how long ago it was. They're in the talks for PlayStation 5 right now.
Yep.
Like, that's how long it's been.
They can come out with entire new systems before they can come out with a new game.
Yeah.
I was
2 new systems.
Yeah.
2005. So 2005 was Kingdom Hearts 2. I was 15 playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And they were like continuously talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 all the way up to 2019, and we had no idea if it would actually happen. Shit, last year they legitimately said, "Hey, we're gonna make Kingdom Hearts 3 come out in time for PlayStation 4." I'm like, "Sweet!" Didn't fucking happen. It got pushed back again, and I'm like, "There goes my hopes and dreams."
I don't have hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I've played it. It's
yeah.
It's good, but like because of there's so much buildup and everybody's been waiting for like a decade and a half. By the time it came out, like the amount of hype, there was no way that Kingdom Hearts 3 was gonna live up to it. Even if it came out with like the best stuff, and it came out with some pretty cool shit. Like it was just not enough.
It's for Kingdom Hearts 3. If I have to say anything about Kingdom Hearts 3, it's the simple fact that there are scenes that really live up to the hype, but then there's a lot of, I gotta say it, poor acting. Like, it was almost like they just put the voice actor in the room, had them read their lines, and then said, "Yeah, that's good," and left it at that.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean is hard for me to get through because Jack Sparrow fucking sucks. Like, the voice actor for Jack Sparrow is horrible.
Oh, okay.
His
okay.
acting capabilities.
He's talking about the game, not
The game.
I know, we all went, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I do.
I was like, you're about to have us all fly out and beat the shit out of you right now. Hold up a second.
But yeah, being lost in development. Speaking of that, so something just to give a little bit of jizz in the pants of every military person I know that's really into the gaming community. We're finally getting talks for a Modern Warfare 4 game, finally. I have been waiting for that for as long as I've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we had a game was back in 2005 for Modern Warfare 3. So now I'm like, yay! More video games! Because this campaign was like the only thing for anybody who was like, alright, Halo, I'm done playing Halo. Now what do I play? Oh, there's Modern Warfare. Which, by the way, can they stop making Halo games?
Right?
Their hype died back in Halo 4.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, like, and you can see it in a lot of these video games that are coming out. It's like they were meant to be trilogies.
Yes.
So like Modern Warfare was done at 3. Battlefield was supposed to be done at 3. Like Halo was supposed to be done at 3. So it's like then they're like, oh, well,
It's all about
it
the almighty
sells.
dollar.
Yeah. So they're
The
like, well, it
almighty dollar
sells, so
rules
let's
it.
just keep it going. But then like because the arc has been set, all of a sudden you have to take an ending and go.
So
I'm trying to do an arrow finger up, but I just realized that's not going to really translate when it's just audio.
yeah.
But yeah, like,
The problem with it all ends up being is people as a whole having disagreements. You get these great games, and then they're in development to make the next story, but something happens with the company they're working with, pushing them basically being a producer and being an asshole, and they're like, no, you know what, I don't want it anymore. So we're gonna take the company that we do have, and we're gonna go tell you to go fuck yourself, and we're gonna walk away. That's essentially what happens with Halo and with Call of Duty. When Call of Duty was doing really well, especially with zombie mode, which as a kid I thoroughly enjoyed, but Treyarch themselves, they left. The original people behind Treyarch had to leave. Why? I don't know, but I'm under the assumption that something was going on with the original crew and Infinity War too, and they came back for a couple of stints during certain games, which is awesome, but they were like, they were working with their hands loosely tied, basically. That's
so
the people behind Halo. They left after the third game, and Microsoft was like, no, we want more Halo games, so they assigned new people.
So here's the sad realization, and as I'm getting like more into like the gaming industry and meeting people from that, it is very much a studio hassle.
Yeah.
Like just hassling the producers. I was hearing stories about Red Dead Redemption 2, and even Mortal Kombat 11, like basically studios forcing people to work like 12 to 16-hour shifts every day with no weekends or no days off for years on end. And so like you do hear these like just heart-wrenching stories about like people's mental health going to shit because there's no recovery time, or even suicides.
Yeah.
And it's like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a demand, but there's a point where it's like the studio needs to let that creativity flow. And to go back on it, like when the arc ends and those creative directors say like, we're done, and the studio says, no, you're not, that's when it's like there's nothing
and
story-wise that's going to come out of it that's going to be good.
You need to learn not to rush it too. I don't know if you guys have ever checked it out on YouTube. To those that have not played video games or just not played these video games, Red Dead Redemption glitches are hilarious.
Yeah.
So they try to make a very immersive world. If you've ever watched Westworld, it's like the video game on your TV version of that. And there's these moments where you're just riding along and somebody goes, help me, and you could do a little side mission, which is cool. So this guy's about to get off his horse, and a ram comes out of fucking nowhere, hits this woman and kills her. And he's just on microphone, he goes, well, I guess that wasn't a very important side mission because I'll never be able to do it again. There it goes.
There it goes.
Right?
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff that happens. But yeah, like that's why like when I'm hearing about like these sequels and I'm just like, oh, who are you gonna do with? That was the big problem with Anthem. Did you guys hear about that? Anthem was supposed to be great. EA fucked the shit out of that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Holy crap!
And we are really hitting the nail on the head with this one, is just rushing games to get out. Like case in point, taking it back, Assassin's Creed. Like I get that they have different groups working on these games, but if they don't want to get burnt out in terms of the love for these games, and they don't want to burn their workers out, these guys need to take a break. Assassin's Creed game every year. That's a whoa. I did not play Syndicate because I had played all the way up to Unity, and then another one comes out, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck off. You really clearly are showing that you're exhausted on what you want to do. The only cool thing that happened at a Syndicate was its cinematic trailer. That thing was awesome. That thing was great. Everything else was horseshit. But then they come up and revive themselves because the group that did Black Sails, Black Flag, come back around with Origins, and that game was amazing. But video games being rushed ends up creating a lot of glitches. Like right now, I really want to play a game based on zombies. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's really fun watching a guy drive on his motorcycle and then a wolf, quote fingers here, attacks him from 10 feet away, and he gets thrown off of his motorcycle, off of the road into a tree. And I'm just like, wait, what? Sometimes the glitches are funny, but other times I'm just like, wait a minute, what just happened?
So here's a glitch that someone posted on Twitch. Thank you for posting this last element. He goes, I'm guessing this is for Red Dead Redemption 2. He goes, I once whistled for my horse in a canyon. It sprinted over the canyon wall and fell out of the sky in front of me. Dead.
Yes. Oh, man. Those glitches are the best.
They're
though.
great.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, glitches and games are fun. And I'm sure Single Dad here's seen his fair share because his boys play Fallout. Fallout has a fuck ton of glitches. But as much as I love those games, so many glitches. I'll pick something up and all of a sudden it won't be in my fucking inventory, and then it's not in the chest that I thought I picked it up from, and I'm like, well, I guess that item's gone forever.
I'm not gonna need that.
Cool.
Or I don't need that anymore.
Shutting the door, trying to keep them out, and they just go through the door instead of opening the door. Like, wait, what? Or super mutants stuck in the floor at the hip, and every time you shoot at them, it does nothing to their health, and I'm just like, what's the point?
Oh, there was one I saw the other day where it was like the guy that they were supposed to talk to was like stuck in between the walls, so they couldn't interact, and he's like, oh, I guess you're stuck here.
Yes. Or someone who goes to sleep. You're trying to have a conversation with them.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're able to have a conversation with them while they're still asleep on the floor, on the bed. Like, wait, what's happening right now? And then after the conversation, they get up and they pretend like they didn't have a conversation with you.
Well, you know, if I fell asleep in the middle of a conversation with somebody, I would get up and pretend I didn't have a conversation with them too.
That's fair. That's fair.
And that's, again, part of our military training is being able to carry on a conversation after waking up in mid-conversation.
Yes. The first time that ever happened to me was in AIT, and I was trying to charge my phone. NCO comes in, sees my phone out, and he goes, you'll get this back tomorrow morning. Don't have your phone out. You got to lock it up. And I went, okay, Sergeant. I wake up in the morning, I go, where the fuck did my phone go? What the shit?
Wait a second. AIT is
advanced individual
infantry training. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like my MCT. Okay, you had your phone for that?
Yeah, I was allowed to have my phone only during free time. I wasn't allowed to bring it during training situations. I had it after hours, and I had to put it away at 8 p.m. So I had it between the hours of 6 to 8, basically.
You had your fucking phone? What?
I had my phone during training too.
It's at this point my goddess realizes she joined the wrong branch.
Right?
Yeah, like,
well, no, okay, so talking about this, since we're on military talk, obviously.
No.
Can I just point out something that had come to my attention? We've all seen the photo, I'm sure, of the group of new privates in the back of an LMTV with their phones out. So remember, and I'm like, these new privates are fucking living large. And then it dawned on me, and it occurred to me, I've had a couple of people in my platoon sneak their phones out so that they can have it, and then they got caught with contraband. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, maybe that's what happened. Because I've heard some people go, no, I didn't have my phone out during boot camp. I'm like, but that photo, like, I don't understand. So
let me tell you a story.
Good.
Let me tell you a story.
You've been talking about 20 minutes, so let's have.
Speaking of
When I was in
royalty over
when
here.
I was in
Royalty,
basic
royalty.
training. Okay, so first of all, we had flip phones, but we at the end of basic training, and you're about to graduate, you're in that last weekend, whatever. They give you your stuff back that they've taken at the beginning. And so, of course, we've had Liberty once at this point, and so some of us girls had bought clothes recently that weren't, military issued. And we're in our dorm. This is after hours. There's nothing going on. They've given us back our stuff. Some people have plugged in their phones to charge them. Nobody is supposed to have them out yet, but we had a male TI, so we got away with a little bit of stuff after hours. And then as we were trying on our clothes that we've bought at Liberty, we were charging our phones, we were doing things we really should not be doing at all. The fire drill goes off.
Ah.
No.
We are on flight in civilian clothes, regular pajamas, actual clothes. Some of them even brought their phones out with them. Let me
Of course.
The rest of them still left them plugged in the dorm because they not thinking fire alarm, get out. So of course, fire alarm happens, and the TIs use this as let's go
check.
through and check the dorms. All of our stuff is all over the dorms
Oh, I'm sure.
because it was
I'm just surprised. I'm just pleasantly surprised that they actually do that in the Air Force.
It was awful.
I am living for every second of this.
TI at basic training surrounds our entire flight.
Oh my god. So.
I mean, it's us and our brother flight. They were doing the same things, but
Yeah, it's fucking funny.
and I'm actually thinking that maybe it's like a thing they do after they give back the stuff.
Because they know they get a chance to fuck with you.
Oh, I mean, this is our last. I mean, none of us really got in trouble,
Of course, you're the Air Force.
but it's also last days. I mean, legit, we had already. I mean, graduation I think was like the next day, or something like that. But I mean, we were in the end. But it was like thinking back on that, like we were balls at that point.
I think our last week we were allowed to have our phones back. Maybe that, or the last 4 days at the very least, we were allowed to have our phones back because we needed them for Family Day, and we were just having a storm. And of course, you got to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that when you're in a barracks room that has an intercom, it is two-way, but they always have it on so they can hear everything you're doing in your barracks room. All of a sudden, they're hearing music blast in the barracks room, and they're like, motherfucker. So Drill Sergeant Lewis comes in, practically kicks the door in, comes in and goes, motherfucking Annies! We're like, shit. And I'm sitting here at least turning my music down because I can't get it off in time. And we're all at parade wrestling. And he goes, you guys have a couple of days. Turn your fucking phones off. They're not allowed to be on right now. I do not want to take your phones away before you get to go see your families. But if I hear it again, you're fucked in the ass. And then walks out and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's kind of how the end of our night went. I think there was a couple people who they did check like the phones to see if they actually used them, and if they got caught being that they actually were used, they got them taken away until the next day. But for the most part, it was like, put those away. That was the one thing I didn't do. I did not pull out my phone. I was like, they gave it back to me and I put it in my locker. Like, I did not do that, but I was in civilian clothes, so.
I think we got our phones back the day before we graduated, because we had it for Family Day, and it was literally like everyone was too chicken shit to use their phones. But then like the night before, like we kind of like got to like let our hair down and like joke around with the drill instructors and stuff like that, and that was like a cool bonding experience. But yeah, like Girl,
we were not. Yeah, we were not allowed to use them.
I wasn't blasting music with my phone.
We were not allowed to use them at all.
Yeah, that's funny.
Even when we left, we could use them in transition. And I used quotes for myself because I went from one side of the base to the other side of the base, from basic to tech school.
Oh, okay. You're the same base.
I seriously hiked across the base. There was like 15 of us, and we hiked from one side to the other of the base. It was that's how far I went.
Home.
Keeping the flavor of video games and military service, I have one thing that surprised me about my AIT. So when I was in processing to my next location, I was walking through, and I swear to fucking God, this guy had a setup. He put his PlayStation into the locker and had a mini TV in his locker, so that while he was hanging out in his barracks while doing nothing, he could play PlayStation out of his locker.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, we had like a closet that they didn't go into, and then during tech school, we had a closet that they couldn't go into that we could lock up, and then the rest of the room was for inspection.
So, funny Air Force training story, I guess. So I didn't realize that like trainees get weekends. So me and we went with this small ensemble. I forget where it was, but I do remember it was in the same town as an Air Force training base. And the guys went out drinking and stuff like that, and they were like, "Oh my God, don't fucking hit on anyone." And we're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because we were just hitting on these two girls, and it turns out that they're recruits." And because they had to go back to training on Monday, and they were just like, "Oh God." So yeah.
I mean, they would have been recruits. They had to have already been. They might have been in tech school, but not they're not considered trainee. We were trainees.
Oh, okay.
And you're only trainees until your fourth week of basic training, and then when you officially get airman status. It's different now than it was when I went through, so that's why I'm struggling on that, because I went for 6 weeks and I think it's 8 weeks now, and then it depends on other situations. It's weird. They changed it. They're trying to actually kind of copy the a little bit of the Marines now, because
yeah, girl. Yeah. Because we like torture and 13 weeks of it.
Yeah, they don't do that much, but yeah, they're trying to I wasn't issued a weapon until halfway through.
My cousin was a commander. He retired as a commander in the Marine Corps, and he said one of his most favorite treasured memories was how they told him, as a form of punishment, to go to his mirror, stare in his mirror, and go, "I'm not crazy, you're crazy," at himself in the mirror for about 2 minutes straight, and then he was allowed. So yeah, fun stories.
Traumatizing people is fun.
Right. Speaking of traumatizing people, I'm gonna do a quick plug randomly. I think you guys should invest in it as well. Matt Best of Range 15, the movie Range 15, Article 15 Clothing, and co-CEO of Black Rifle Coffee, has finally released his book. Now, keep in mind, he is an ex-Army Ranger, so he had to go through a lot of more hoops than the normal average person. He goes in depth with it on his podcast called Drinking Bros Podcast, full of a bunch of military guys who drink a beer and just get drunk on a podcast. It's great.
Can we do that one day?
I mean, sure. Yeah, I don't mind. For Veterans Day, our Veterans Day episode, 4th of July or something. So he finally has a book finally out. It's called Thank You for My no, not thank you. Yeah, Thank You for My Service.
Nice.
It's the name of the book. And I have already pre-ordered my copy. I am excited for it. You should totally invest in it. It is out in August. Mine says it's going to arrive on August 20th. Yeah, Thank You for My Service by Matt Best. It's pretty fucking hilarious. Gets real deep. One description of the book was, it's like going in and then never pulling out. So yeah, quick plug for Matt Best, Black Rifle Copy. I know that I've communicated with a couple other guys and whatnot, so I figured to give them some love to the nerdy military community to get themselves a copy. If you like what we do and you like our sense of humor, this book is like, it really is the big green weenie fucking you in the eyeballs as you read this book, is how I'll describe it. So yeah, now we're gonna shift gears from video game talk to the fact that today I kind of had a happy mental breakdown because I realized that this weekend John Wick 3 comes out.
Sorry.
So
Hi.
we were talking, me and my buddy at work were talking about Detective Pikachu and talking about movies this May and whatnot, and he goes, yeah, tomorrow we get to go see John Wick 3! And I put my hands on my face, like in the sides of my face and head, and on my temples, and I'm just like, oh my god, what? Dropped down to my knees and went, oh my god, smile wouldn't leave, and I'm like, John Wick 3! And I, of course, later on told him, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved Endgame, 10 out of 10, but thinking about movies that I've anticipated for, I don't think I've ever had that reaction to any other movie. I may very well love John Wick more than I've loved a lot of other movies. So let's see what happens. The reviews are already in from people who got to see the special screening, and they all said this is the best out of the John Wick movies. So
yeah. Single Dad might have some really good insight on that because he actually has a couple of his friends that were there, right?
Yes. And Single Dad, since you've been silent for the last 30 minutes, why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
Well, you guys are sitting there talking about like cell phones in basic and during boot camp, and shit, they didn't have those when I went through.
If it makes you feel any better, I had to deal with letters in the mail too. That's how I got contact with the outside
That's
world.
me too. Me too.
Same me.
I didn't get my phone
Except for nobody,
privileges.
Yeah.
I had
It wasn't until
You didn't know what a cell phone was.
it wasn't until my second duty station when I got a cell phone. I mean, boys. Oh my god.
Wow, you're old.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
let me just paint the picture for you.
Not a
Here.
heifer
You
just
guys
came on here just to say, "Wow, you're old." Well, actually,
I am not
she's
surprised.
all older than us.
Yeah, thanks, Aubrey. I appreciate that. Okay, so let me paint the picture for you here. We're talking about video games. My sons are playing what is it? The show? They're playing the show 17, the Major League Baseball movie.
Okay.
Game. So 2 of them are one team, one of them's on their own team. So it's 1 versus 2. Right now they are honestly, it's the Cubs versus the Nationals. The Nationals are pitching, and they are doing everything they can to try and hit the batter in the crotch with a fastball. And my 3 boys are, rolling on the floor, laughing maniacally, just loading the bases with walks and just tagging the batter in the junk.
So, I know your pain. I used to play Call of Duty Zombies with my nephew all the time because granted he was a teenager, but every time we play zombie mode, all he would do is run head on and then jump into the mass and get killed. And I'm like,
Leroy
Jenkins!
Yeah,
I'm sitting here juggling this because I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, I get it. It's just a video game. On the other hand, I'm like, could you take it just a little bit seriously so we can actually do this game?
Let's just play. Play.
Yeah, let's just play the actual game. Yes.
yes.
And then
So John Wick. I've actually got a couple friends of mine, a couple cosplayer friends of mine that went to the preview night last night. There was a special screening, obviously here in LA, and they went and there was like the director's Q&A afterwards, and I was talking to them this morning, and they were like, "Oh my God, the movie's phenomenal. And the Q&A afterwards was absolutely epic. You need to go see this movie. They know how much I love the John Wick series. When the first one came out, I was super stoked. I remember going to see it in theaters, and then the second one came out. I obviously Keanu ratcheted up his training and everything like that for the second one, just because I mean his gun fu is phenomenal.
Yes.
In the second one.
What I
Yes.
absolutely love, not to interject, but what I absolutely love, and I'm sure people have seen the video, is the video of him doing actual tactical
Yes.
training
Yes.
with professionals, and
Him
seeing
and Halle Berry.
Yeah.
him hit every single target too.
Yeah.
I was just like, don't fuck with Keanu Reeves.
Right.
Like, there's Bruce Lee, there's Chuck Norris, sure they have their jokes, and then there's fucking Keanu Reeves.
But yeah, no, everything that they've talked to me about and everything they've said, they were like, we're not going to spoil this for you. You have to go see this movie. And I'm looking forward to going in and checking it out. I've got my kids this weekend, so I'm not going to be able to go and see it until probably Monday after I take them to school. But at the same time, I'm super stoked for this movie. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's a long time coming. And they said, like, I think we talked about it a little bit earlier. This is probably the best of the three. So
Yes. I loved an interview on Stephen Colbert's show about this, and he asked about him in doing his stunts. And Keanu Reeves I want to see more Keanu Reeves in interviews. I know he's kind of shy ever since what's happened to his life, and I respect that. If you don't know what's happened to his life, he lost his wife to tragic. It was either illness or an accident. One of the two. Took his wife very suddenly, and he just hasn't been the same ever since. Keanu Reeves does not live the lifestyle the way a lot of other celebrities do who make the same amount as he does. He actually lives in a
modesty.
very modest. He lives in a normal apartment like me.
yeah,
He doesn't want any of that stuff. Granted, he runs a motorcycle company apparently. Anyway, so in this interview with Stephen Colbert, they were talking. He goes about your stunts, and he goes, "Well, I do the action scenes, but I don't do my stunts." And he goes, "What do you mean your action scenes?" And Keanu goes, "Well, there's moments where I'm doing my gun fu, my Jiu-Jitsu and my Muay Thai and all that. But then there's a moment when John Wick needs to get hit by a car. And then I get removed and somebody else comes into the scene and gets hit by a car." So it's fascinating that the martial arts aspects in certain scenes are him. Like, I absolutely loved the story he told about the motorcycle. There was an interview about the motorcycle movie way back in the day, like when he was first starting, before even Speed happened, before The Matrix, and just after Bill and Ted. And he was doing this movie, and the stunt coordinator came over, and he goes, "All right, let me show you how to turn on the motorcycle and how it works." Keanu, like a boss, looks up at him and goes, No, I got this. And then just wheeled out. And I was just like, oh, that's awesome. Fucking love Keanu.
I will say, like, from a filming standpoint, when the actor can do their own stunts, there's so much more that you can do. There's so many more opportunities because you don't have to like hide the face or like kind of like do a quick shot or anything like that. You can tell a story with choreography much better when they can do their own stunts, and it really does kind of open up. Like when you have people like Jackie Chan, Keanu Reeves, like Jet Li, like all those guys that do their own stunts, you can definitely see a difference between those movies and movies where like a lot of the fight scenes are with a stunt double. Yeah. So like, I think that's one of the reasons why I love John Wick movies so much, is because you really do get to see the nitty gritty, like the sweat and the blood. And I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know if there's a word for that, but yeah.
It's called being a Marine. That's I mean that whole guttural, growling, grunting. That is your language. We're used to it. All right, that's okay.
Sorry, we're here to translate.
Thanks,
eat sweat and guts for breakfast.
And purple crayons.
That's for dinner.
I'm sorry they didn't have purple crayons this weekend. I really looked for one, but all I could find was giant red and giant yellow crayons. I apologize.
Shame. Who likes yellow? What the fuck?
Hey!
Who likes yellow? What
Well,
the
we
fuck?
know who likes yellow, crap.
That's
Okay.
like my most offended meme that's like out in the world ever. It's like always be treated like the pink starburst. No, don't let anybody treat you like the yellow starburst. And the yellow starburst is my favorite.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Take your anger out on John Wick this weekend.
Well, I need the other two first.
So there was another instance that happened the other night. Me and a couple friends were sitting around drinking beers, and this podcast came up in conversation, and they were saying how they listen to it, how they enjoy it, and like on their drive and everything like that to and from work. They put it on so that way they can listen to it, and it's part of their routine every week, and it was brought up, and I think it's an awesome idea. And my friend picked up and said, "Yeah, I think you guys try your hardest every week to make Mayan Goddess sound like a dolphin." And it really is one of those things. So I think there has to be at least one point in every episode where we talk about one of those red, white, and blue bomb pops going up somebody's booty hole.
And there it goes.
And there she is.
So.
And also shout out to your friends. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Listen to us.
Yeah. Which, speaking of shout-outs, we agreed during conversations, we've officially agreed that we're going to take the Geek Boots Instagram page and we're going to do more shout-outs to other military cosplayers. So
yes,
we're prepared for that. We don't know when we're going to do it. Right now, we're just compiling a list, trying to look for all of them that we can so we can make sure this pops and goes.
I found a couple more, so.
Oh, yeah, I already know. Luckily, that original Geek Boots group chat that Single Dad and I were a part of still has Titan's name in it. So I'm like, oh, God, there he is. Okay, got that guy, because that guy's amazing. So yeah, it's going to be great. I'm very excited to unleash it. There's a lot of amazing military guys who are nerds. I mean, just to give a shout out real fast, Gym Cosplay. That's Jim, like you're working out in the gym. He's an ex-Army Ranger. So I'm like, it's again, as Mayan Goddess has said in previous episodes, it's impressive and amazing to see guys and gals who did a certain thing in terms of their MOS in their military career, all of a sudden geeking out. It's so fascinating to find all these people. I'm like, Army Ranger wanting to dress up as Vegeta from Dragon Ball? Are you fucking kidding me? That's amazing. So, very cool. I'm super stoked for that venture.
I think I gave him a follow today. A follow.
Yes, Jim Cosplay.
I don't think he followed me back though.
.cosplay. Yeah, he's a good guy. But I guess it's one of those things where you get to a certain level and you can't follow everybody back.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, there's a lot of people happening now. Yeah, so we're excited. John Wick's happening. I'm so fucking pumped that I get to see this. And the funny thing is I don't have any t-shirts, so I was talking to my buddies about this, and I'm like, what do we have? And then I look at my mind and go, we have Punisher t-shirts. That's the same thing. Like,
I'm probably gonna go in with like a suit and like just like a fake beard and just like
oh,
like this.
yes. No, take your hair and do that thing where you tie it around your face. Yep.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
The hair beard.
The hair beard.
Yes, her hair beard. Yes.
Hair beard. She's doing it now, ladies and gentlemen. It's
right. Yay.
It's amazing.
Oh my God, you look so Amish. She's got the hair is directly under her chin, not on her cheeks. So it's like she looks super Amish right now. It's fantastic because there's
nice clean chin, and then whoosh.
It's like neck beard to a whole nother level.
Yep. Oh my God, that's great. Oh.
I hope my voice goes through like this.
It does.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's around your. Oh, you fixed it. It was around your eyeball. It was great. It went straight around your eye.
Yep. The beard is so intense that it's on the top of her hair too.
It's amazing. The hottest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Speaking of t-shirts and what to
I
wear,
don't get out.
giving a shout out to a hilarious notion. Of course, I have hilarious conversations at work all the time. There's a idea that my friend brought up, and I hope he listens to this podcast episode because this is all for him. It's called the notion of, maybe Godzilla wouldn't do what he does if he just got a fucking hug once in a while. And then we started talking about, he's huge, so we're gonna need like a chain of people to hug around Godzilla. And then he comes up with the name Hands Across Godzilla. And then it started going from there. You get recruits, you tell people about this, and then we skydive. Well, not we. The people that we volunteer. Skydive.
Yes.
Link hands.
Not me.
Jump around and form around Godzilla. Now, one of many things is going to happen. Either A, the sheer force of him screaming is going to kill you. B, the radiation on his body alone is going to kill you. Or any number of things. You will be killed upon impact of hugging Godzilla and become one with Godzilla. But because it's radiation, you will then become the voice of Godzilla. And Godzilla will then be able to talk to everybody through this massive group of people that are hugging Godzilla, who will now be known as the Legion of Godzilla.
Is it bad that I can just think of like the splatter turning into like a necklace around Godzilla's neck?
Oh, it's going to be a charred necklace of people around Godzilla's neck. Yep.
Blood, it's the new staple of 2019.
So, I made some photos that took Hands Across America and Hands Across the World, and then photoshopped Godzilla into those spaces, and made some memes. Hands Across Godzilla, and I'm trying to make t-shirts in time to go see the movie, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. But that would be fucking amazing if it catches wind, and the next Godzilla movie, because we're going to have Godzilla versus King Kong, and there's a cameo with our t-shirt in it. Guys handing pamphlets out to try to get people to help hug Godzilla. Godzilla shows up, and either A, he goes, shit, gets too scared and runs off, or he gets stepped on, or B, he starts running for Godzilla to give him a hug.
And then gets stomped.
So fun fact.
Stepped on.
Fun fact. I participated in Hands Across America back in 1986.
Oh, okay. So you're ready to help us make Hands Across Godzilla fact?
No.
No, that was the sweetest no. You're like, no.
Oh.
I'm good, bro.
Have you not learned that about me? I don't. I say no. I stand up for myself, but I'm always nice.
But nice. Yeah.
I kill you, but I smile at you afterwards.
I kill you with kindness.
That's why she can smile.
Yeah.
At you.
One of my favorites. Actually, honestly, it's the only horror movie I've really ever watched, so it's the only horror thing I cosplay when I do horror things, because it's the only one I've seen.
I feel bad because, like, whenever I go to see horror movies, like, if there's a jump scare, I will, like, scream and then I'll giggle like a kid.
I can see you
Like,
do that.
that's how and it feels like any, like, theater going experience if you're in a horror movie and there's just, like, this giggling, like...
Okay, so I don't like horror movies, but now I want to see a horror movie with you. You're the first person in the history of the world I've ever wanted to see a horror movie with.
You should go see La Llorona.
Except you'll probably find me underneath the chairs at some point.
I'll just be like, hey, hi.
I don't
That's
do
where-
horror.
That's where all the yellow starburst are. So yeah, definitely.
So,
I'll be licking the bottom.
so what are we naming this episode? I believe everything jokeable that had happened was at the beginning of the episode.
Okay, this is either going to be the yellow starburst episode for Jen and me, or it's going to be the shout out episode because I don't know how many people
Mass
we've.
mingles.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. True that.
We've done a lot of name dropping this one.
Oh yeah. Lots of name dropping. So yeah, We'll figure it out. We'll pass jokes along, or I'll just listen to it again and go, oh, that was a funny moment. Like, case in point, when Single Dad was like, what? You guys had phones back in your training days? What are these phones you speak of?
I mean, at least I had a flip phone. Come on. I didn't have, like, a
Touchscreen.
smart one.
Yeah.
I didn't have a
You
phone.
gotta remember. I
I had a
mean,
dumb phone.
Smartphone.
you guys are talking to the dude that, I mean, until they moved to their current house, like what, 4 years ago, my parents still had a rotary phone in the kitchen with like the really long cord so you could walk into the other room. Yes.
So I have to,
Honest
like,
to goodness, rotary phone.
I have the internet to, like, keep up with my mom. Like, she was on Snapchat way before I was.
That's saying something about your mom.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
To be fair, my dad's still playing video games and he's nearing his 70s. So, like, more than like, that's what he does on his break time. Because again, he runs an embroidery business, so he gets to work out of home.
Right.
On his lunch break, he's playing video games online with other people when he's playing Gears of War and Halo.
Good for him.
So I'm like, all right. I remember coming home for Christmas right after AIT, and I come downstairs and he's on the Total Gym doing squats while playing Call of Duty.
Yes.
So
Oh my
there
god.
you go. That's
I can
my
just
dad
imagine
for you.
doing like every time I die from like a certain like player versus player event, just having to do like 10 squats for every time I die. I would not want to like die ever again.
yeah.
What are you doing? I'm killing out.
Anyway, this has been an exciting episode talking about video games translating to movies, horrible movie ideas like Sonic, talking about the hype for John Wick, talking about shout-outs for people and the future of this company, this organization that we're building, a shout-out to Matt Best, and everything. I'm glad you could tune in to the hilarity that was this episode. Tune in next week as we make you all sob. No, next week we're gonna try not to make the waterworks happen. Next week's episode is just to give our civilian listeners a little insight, because next week we're gonna do ahead of the game of Memorial Day weekend. It's a different beast. It's a different animal, because before we all joined, we were all enjoying the barbecue scene, having fun, and not even knowing what the fuck Memorial Day even was. And then we joined. And then,
Except for me and Single Dad, because we grew up in the military.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, I guess all of us here in the podcast, but there are some people who join and then go, oh, that's what that is. Yeah, so we're going to discuss Memorial Day, what it actually is, what it means to us, and frequently asked questions. So stay tuned next week for that little nugget of joy. We'll try really hard not to make you guys cry. We'll try really hard not to cry ourselves.
And I will say this. Hey, oh no, go ahead. Ladies first.
Can I
So
do a
that means
shameless
cosplay
plug?
dinner.
Oh,
We've done shameless plugs. Why can't you?
That was savage, and I love it.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Can I do a shameless plug?
No, I
Oh
meant
my God,
cosplay
you
dinner.
guys.
Sorry, I'll stop now. You go.
I said something like that. I'm sorry. Don't mind me. Okay, so Memorial Day weekend, I'm actually doing a charity stream on my channel on twitch.tv, and I'm raising funds for the Semper Fi Fund, which works with, it used to work with just injured Marines, which is why it was called the Injured Marine Semper Fi Fund, and now it works with all branches. And they in particular helped me out when I was getting my leg brace and getting back on my 2 feet, pun slightly intended. And so I'll be raising money for them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. So definitely stop by if you can and come help some great people.
That is dope. And while we're doing shout outs of plans and things that are coming to go, yes, it's time to start saying it right now. Most of us plan on being at Rose City Comic Con in Portland, Oregon in September. If you would like to meet the cast of Geek Boots Military Nerds, we will be walking around and hanging out. come say hi. We don't have any merchandise at the moment. We're still getting our boots underneath us, but come say hi, get some photos, talk about the podcast, get to know us. It's going to be a fucking amazing time. Hopefully, Emerald City Comic Con next year, we will have a panel for everybody to come and enjoy. And then after that, immediately after that, we will be at Anaheim, California for WonderCon. Yeah, we will be there as well. It's going to be a fucking amazing time. So yeah, those are our plans for cons and being around with people. I love all of our fans, all of our listeners. Stay tuning in. We're gonna monetize this bitch as soon as possible, so we can start producing more stuff and putting out merchandise and whatnot. So, anyway, this is Tom Cruise with Single Dad.
What up?
Mayan Goddess. And Cosplay Genevieve.
How do you follow that?
I don't know. This is Geek, Military Nerds, and we are signing out with laughter. Have a good night.
Toodles.
Bye. See ya.
I almost hit the hang up button the last time, like I did without hitting stop recording. And now